This week I'm testing the all-new 2025 Tesla Model Y. This of course is a facelift version, and despite looking a bit like a Lego car, it's still one of the most efficient electric SUVs you can buy. This long-range model here has up to 351 miles of range on a single charge, and probably the biggest selling point of buying a Tesla is that Supercharger network, which can add up to 150 miles of range in just 15 minutes. But we're going to put that to the test today and try that out. But before we do that, let me show you some of the new features on the updated Model Y. The Tesla Model Y is a fully electric crossover, and the biggest update to the facelifted 2025 model have to be the lights. And I genuinely love this soft glow at the bottom here with that Tesla badge. This is more the premium styling that I would expect Tesla's brand image to look like. This rear-wheel drive long-range model has 19-inch alloy wheels, and despite being a family SUV, gets up to 351 miles of range on a single charge. In terms of practicality as a family car, then there's a lot of space once you get in here. There's plenty of headroom because of that panoramic roof, and the slope doesn't start till behind your head either. And there's more than enough legroom in here, and a really cool centre display which could keep kids entertained. But what I would say is getting in's a bit tricky. That door doesn't open very wide, and if you have young kids or car seats, you do have ISOFIX points in here, but you're probably going to struggle to get in and out of the door. However, credit where it's due, there is so much space in the rear here. Obviously you've got this parcel shelf which you can remove completely or fold it back, but down here there is so much room to put things like buggies or all your shopping in. And of course as well, it is a coupe design, so that roof does slope down, but even still there is so much space. Plus you have a really deep well in here just under the floor, which at the moment has some charging cables in it, but you could put so much stuff under there as well. And for convenience, if you're not using the rear seats, then you can fold them down with the push of a button here, and that will give you even more space if you need to take long items in the car with you. In terms of changes in the interior, well, this now takes a new design of a very minimal approach. Similar to the Tesla Model 3 facelift that I had last year, it's kind of got rid of everything. Like, there's no gear selector here, it's all on this touchscreen now. But one thing that they have changed with some user feedback is they've added an indicator stop behind the wheel rather than having the buttons. But that is a good improvement, and it's good to know that Tesla are listening to feedback like that and making changes on it so quickly. But like I say, everything is controlled from this centre touchscreen here, from your air conditioning, climate controls, music, sat nav, everything else, including gears. But what I've noticed is if you sit in the car for a while without doing anything, the car will go to sleep, and you should be able to press the brake to wake it back up again. But when that's been happening and I've pressed the brake, the screen sort of glitches and then goes back off, and I have to do a reset on the car just to get it going again, which is a bit of a nuisance. But it did do an update the other night, which could be the cause. Now, in terms of driving the Model Y, it feels pretty uninspiring, to be completely honest with you. It's very nice and smooth, and of course being electric it is quiet, and there is acoustic glass all around this car, which does help insulate the cabin from external noise like wind and road. That is an electric vehicle, so it's still pretty pokey. You're going to have that power behind you, and it is instant, so it gives you full confidence. But at the end of the day, the primary goal of this car is to be efficient and focus on range. And this long-range rear-wheel drive model has up to 351 miles on a single charge, which even by today's standard is still very good. And even being the rear-wheel drive, this feels planted, so there's probably very little need to upgrade to the all-wheel drive model unless you live in a certain part of the country that gets really bad snow in winter. For most people, the rear-wheel drive would be the best option, and it's one of the more affordable as well. So you can see there, that was the car changing lane itself. I told it I wanted to change lane. It then scanned the lane beside me and other traffic around me to see if it was safe to do so. Obviously you saw me check the blind spots as well. But then the steering wheel did move slightly to indicate over. And then as it moves over, it detects when it's across the lines, and it will switch the indicator back off again. So there's a little bit of human intervention there where I need to tell the car that I want to go. But that's still good because it means you physically need to be paying attention anyway. Also, because it's like paying a lot of attention, which I'm glad it is, don't get me wrong, it then detects like what cars next to you are doing. So I was in the middle lane of the motorway earlier, overtaking a slower car on my left, and what had happened is the car on the left, it sort of veered over towards the dotted white line, and the Tesla just panicked and it slammed in the brakes thinking there was going to be a collision, Thankfully, there was nothing behind me, because if there was, there might have been a collision because this car decided to brake. So yes, it's a safety thing, but at the same time, it's like overly safe. And there it's just had to cancel there because the road markings at this third junction are not typical. So it very much does still get confused. The roads here are very different to America. This system isn't fully legalised here yet to have the full self-driving. So like I say, it just needs a lot of refinement before it's worthwhile. I would be surprised to know how many Tesla owners actually use that function, because genuinely, I've been trying to use it as much as possible just to experience it for testing, but honestly, I think I would rather just stay in control of the car because it's still too fidgety and too imperfect to trust it. I have just arrived at Tesla in Glasgow. You can see beside me there is the Superchargers. In theory, I should just be able to plug the car in and it should automatically start charging after it recognises the car. There's no need for any cards, any memberships or mobile apps like having to use other charge points around. So let's see if it is that easy. So now we just walk around the side of the car here. You can see the charging port is open, and as I say, this here is the Supercharger. So really, I should just be able to unplug this, come around here, plug that in, and then let's see what happens. So that little blue light there has come on. This is flashing, but I don't know if it's doing much. So let's have a look in the car. Yes, now that I've got in, you can see here it is actually charging. It's got a cool little graphic there showing it's connected and shows what it's charging at, and that there's 55 minutes remaining. So not quite the 15 minutes to promise on the Superchargers, but we'll see. After what, 3 minutes, it's already gone up quite a bit. But what I have noticed is this charge limit is set all the way to 100%, which might be where that 50 minutes is coming from, because after 80%, it does slow right down. So I wonder if there we go. So if I charge that limit, if I change that charge limit, to 80%, then it's almost half there, it's down to 25 minutes. So I plugged the car in, got everything set up, then I went inside the store just to get somewhere to work and grab a coffee. Now, I checked the app after 15 minutes and the car had gone up to 72%, so that was from 29%. So missed out on the 15 minutes because they claim that it goes, apparently it's 20% to 80% in 15 minutes, which is a bit of a cop-out, but I'd asked one of the staff members why that could be, and initially it started off with a preconditioning chat, and I'd mentioned that I had set the sat-nav up and it did precondition, but then he explained that in colder temperatures, like it is all the time in Scotland, that it can take up to an hour for the battery to fully precondition. So that means that even if you do precondition it on, say, 20-25 minute journey that I done, it will not take the full charge straight away. That said, it's still pretty impressive because it did add around 50% of the charge in 15 minutes, which is still a lot and very fast. And even then, it only took around 25 minutes to get up to the 80%. So it's still faster than a lot of other electric cars. Even though it didn't fully get up to temperature with the preconditioning because I was doing quite a short journey, it still started taking 147 kilowatts as soon as I connected it, which is very impressive indeed. And like I say, it didn't quite get me from like the 30% to 80% in 15 minutes, but it did add over 50% of charge, which is still very good. And actually, if I was a Tesla owner and could do that, I would be so pleased with that. And another thing as well is if you're buying an electric car and have the ability to get a home charger, you can get some energy tariffs like Octopus Energy, where it can cost as little as 7 pence per night to charge. Now, if you break that down over a year, you could essentially run an electric car, charge it at your home for just £200 a year, compared to over £1,000 in fuel bills. So you can save a lot of money. But speaking of price, the new Model Y starts from around £47,000 and of course has different versions available, going up to almost £60,000. But if you can save a lot of money in fuel, I think it's well worth the money.